apples. I love the fall because I get to go apple picking, and with all those apples, I get to make the most delicious desserts. One of which we're going to make today, and it's called apple cobbler, and it couldn't be easier than this. Let me show you. First thing that you're going to need to make apple cobbler is a 9-inch baking plate like this, pie plate I should say, and apples. I cut about 2.5 apples. Now the type of apples really, it depends on what you want. I mix it. I had Granny Smith and I have these apples called jazz apples, gala apples, whatever you have in the refrigerator. Use it, cut it up, and fill up your plate with the apples, okay? Now to this plate of apples, we are going to add 1 tablespoon of flour, and we're going to put it on the apples. Also, 7 tablespoons of sugar, and last but not least, a 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. We are going to put that on there, and then we're going to stir it around, stir it well so that you don't see the sugar and you don't see the flour anymore. And then we're going to set it aside for 30 minutes so that the apples can absorb the lemon juice and the sugar and the flour. It does all this magic to one another. And then we will move on to making the cobbler part, okay? Okay, so our apples have been sitting for a ½ hour, and this is what they look like. They haven't really browned because the lemon juice also helps to prevent it from browning. So why don't we make our cobbler? First, you're going to need 3/4 cup of flour. Put it in a bowl. Add to that 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Okay. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. 1/8 teaspoon of salt, very little. 1 tablespoon of sugar. You'll be so impressed at this dessert in terms of how little sugar there is. And guess what? This is the best part for me. There is only, in this whole thing, 2 tablespoons of butter. How amazing is that? And wait till you taste it. 2 tablespoons of butter is like nothing in terms of desserts with butter. So it's very exciting. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to cut it into some small pieces, and then we're going to plop the butter in, and we're going to mix the butter and the flour with our fingers. And the reason for that is you really want to, I'm going to show you how it's going to end up looking once you've mixed it well. Because really your hand is, it's the best way to get it done. So you can see what I'm doing? I'm kind of like rubbing it together. And it's all coming together, the flour with the butter. It's wonderful. It's coming like, it's getting to be coarse. And the butter and the flour mixture is now mixed together like so. So this is what you want it to look like, okay? So now that you've done that, you're ready for the next ingredient. Now this is buttermilk, but my version of buttermilk. It's going to be 1/2 cup of buttermilk. If you've seen any of my other videos, I mentioned that I used to buy buttermilk, don't anymore, because I end up using whatever it is I need for the dessert I'm making, and then the rest goes to waste. So instead of that, I use milk and lemon juice or white vinegar to make my buttermilk. So this is what you do. For 1/2 cup of buttermilk, you're going to take 1.5 teaspoons of lemon juice or vinegar, whichever you prefer, white vinegar. I use lemon juice because I always have that available. Put it in my measuring cup. Then I'm going to top it off with the milk. And you're going to let it sit for a minimum of 5 minutes. And then I'm going to pour it. I want you to see what it looks like as I'm pouring it. It's no longer your, see how it's lumpy? Do you see that? It almost looks like rotten milk, but it's really not. I just did this about 10 minutes ago. Then we are going to take a fork and we are going to mix this all up. Okay, but remember, I don't want you to over mix it. So mix it until the flour and the buttermilk become one. Let's take this now and let's put it over our apples like so. And you see how I did not really mix it that much because you don't need to, first of all, and you will never overmix certain things. Like when you make pancakes, you never want to overmix. It ends up ruining the texture of the pancakes, and the same thing with this. Now, the last thing I'm going to do to our apple cobbler is I'm going to add on the top of it is 2 teaspoons of sugar. So you're going to take that and just spread it like so, right on top. And you're going to have your oven preheated to 400 degrees so that you will be done doing this. You plop it in the oven, and as soon as it's browned, you have a phenomenal dessert waiting for you. And I know my whole family can't wait to try it now. So I'm just going to put it in my oven. And I'll see you later. 30 minutes later, and this beautiful thing comes out of the oven. So you're going to need about 30 minutes, and it's going to be browned like this. And I don't wait for cooling off or anything because I'm so excited to try it, and it smells phenomenal. So we're going to put some here, and oh, it smells, I wish you could smell it. And then I have to tell you, one touch that I cannot resist is some vanilla ice cream. I like to make it a la mode. You don't have to, but I like to eat my desserts in a very decadent style. Really good, and it's really healthy. Apples, a little bit of butter, very little sugar, and yet it's just sweet enough. So enjoy it, I hope, on a wonderful evening when you need to relax and you want to have something sweet to eat. Enjoy it, and I hope to see you again on Eating with Rula. Bye-bye.